So over the past day, the crypto market recovering again, with Bitcoin now sitting at roughly $57,000 a coin, even though the last few days were horrendous to say the least, with many people panicking, leaving all their crypto to the institutions to grab up. But hey, it seems like we're back into bullish territory yet again. Having said that, something is happening in roughly 48 hours that I think every single person in crypto, in stocks, into investing should know about, should pay attention to, and then slightly afterwards, exactly 1 week later, is a follow-up to that, which most likely is the most important event of the year when it comes to indices, stocks, and perhaps even crypto. And the funniest thing is, we kind of already know what's happening at both of these events, but every single time it seems to mess up everything when it comes to all our prices. So stick around, stay tuned, and if you've not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press that like button on the video. And I definitely suggest you to join the Discord, a link is down below. We're gonna make this a crazy crypto learning group, so make sure you go ahead and check it out. So even though I have a very interesting crypto story, I first want to tell you guys about what exactly is happening in roughly 48 hours from now, because what is happening is the US inflation rate and core inflation rate numbers coming out. Now, as you might have all seen from my video a few days back, the moment the unemployment rate numbers came out, crypto saw a pretty big incline nearly instantly. There's a lot more drawn into this chart, so I'm just quickly zooming in a little bit, but this is exactly where the numbers came out. You know, within this candle, we saw a pretty crazy uptick in the Bitcoin price for the next 45 minutes or so, roughly 2.5% up. But then when the stock market opened, which is this candle right here, yeah, we went about 8% down or so in the next, I think, 2 or so hours. But initially, you can see where the volatility came from. So whenever these unemployment rate numbers are coming out, inflation rate numbers now are coming out, there's a good chance the market's going to move yet again. Then again, with the unemployment rate, the previous number was 4.3, and the forecast was that it was going to remain. The fact that it went to 4.2 caused a little bit of a ruckus into the markets, even though I guess the S&P and whatnot didn't really take any negative or any positive effect. When it comes to crypto right here, inflation, theoretically speaking, the higher it is, the better for Bitcoin and for cryptos, as well, the more your US currency messes up and the worse that people get, the more they think of these storage or alternative investments like crypto. Then again, in reality, it is mostly so the more money people have left over as inflation is lower or the markets do better, the more they invest in this sector. Regardless, the inflation rate year over year right now is at 2.9%, with the forecast being 2.7. This means that obviously over time now, year over year, the inflation has gone down. Core inflation is slightly more usable in some different contexts. So what the inflation rate measures is just how much more expensive things have become, and core inflation basically take a sub-basket of that, of a couple specific things and how the prices there have changed. So again, if you want to know how much more expensive everything has become, you take a look at the inflation rate, which I believe is more important. Then again, if you don't care about energy or you don't care about food, some of those things are not included in core inflation, you use that number. It's just because those are extremely volatile, they don't like to use it. Some people think it doesn't give an accurate measurement of how more expensive this has become. And again, YOY means year over year, MOM means month over month. And as you can see, it says August because it's always slightly lagging. Slightly afterwards, though, the day after, it's actually quite interesting. We have ourselves the ECB, so the European Central Bank interest rate decision. So whatever the Europe Central Bank is going to come up with in terms of interest rate. And then a few days afterwards, like I said, we have it's actually slightly above. We have the most important event of the year. Yes, the Japanese balance trade. I am just kidding. We have ourselves hopefully you can see it right there. We have ourselves the Fed interest rate decision and the, conference or little talk slightly afterwards. And the reason this is so key, the reason this is crucial and very important is because we are expecting this will be the first time in an extremely long amount of time that the Fed is going to cut rates. What does cutting rates mean? It means they lower the interest rate. Why is that positive? Think about it. If to build a project, you have to now pay, let's just use this base interest rate, a 5.5% interest rate, you're less likely to do it than if you had to pay a 1% interest rate, right? So if we're talking about spending, well, you're more inclined to save money if the rent you're going to get on your money, the interest, sorry, is 8%, right? But if it's 1%, you're more inclined to spend your money. And that's, in a more direct sense, why this is bullish. It stimulates the market to go spend. It stimulates the market to go and do things again. However, the reason this is so controversial is because we're expecting it to already be priced in, meaning since everybody knows they could only wait so long, and right now there are already these deflationary recession destruction fears going on. Why? Well, if you play around with the interest rate to combat inflation, because like I just said, you can kind of do that. They're not perfect and they're kind of lagging to show the state of the economy, but still you can use the interest rate, the decision to combat inflation. Let's say you want to change the inflation, or at least you want to, accurately, following your set out principles, manage the levels. You have to, I guess, in due course or at the right time, change the interest rate. If you're too late, there is a chance that, for example, inflation drops too much, or it drops but too late, where all of a sudden now your country for the next little period sees less growth. And less growth than previously is not bad, but negative growth, that's essentially what we call a recession. And that can happen if they're too slow with changing the interest rate or too drastic. In this case here, the slow part is what people are fearful of. And again, I'm skipping over a lot of principles to keep this video slightly on the short side. But anyway, if everybody's expecting this decision now to be the decision where they finally start lowering all the numbers again, then we all know it's exciting, right? And I mean, there's some fears, but they're further out because we're not going to see it today yet. Anyway, this is just from almost any principle bullish. Why then am I so fearful, and why then am I making a warning? Well, because right now, if everybody knows that that's going to happen, there are some fears for what it's going to do further down the road, but if they all know, then there's a really good chance people are going to sell into it. And that's what right now a lot of people believe happened to the stock market over the past week here, and why we saw a massive slash all around, because people are selling off in lieu, in preparation for this first slashing, and because it's going to mostly be a bull event. There have been many fear mongerers saying, no, this is the start of the recession. This is where everything gets down. But for the most part, things have just kept going up and up and up, and people have been making fear of this recession since 2008. Anyway, I can sit here talking about this for hours, but the long story short is tomorrow inflation, it usually moves the markets a little bit. A couple of days afterwards, interest rate, usually this is a sign of an extremely bullish market to come, even though there's been a lot of fear around, oh, it's been priced in, so price is going to come down right now. If you all know that it's going to be such a bullish event, then why go against the grain too much? That's just my thoughts, right? Because ultimately, my own opinion on all this is I'm bullish. I'm excited for the near future, and I don't really care what people say or what people think. I've had many discussions over on Twitter where people say, no, we're going to go down to 30,000, yeah. Honest truth is I don't really care what most of these people say. Because to me, it makes so much sense that if I look into the future for about 6 months or so, that we're going to be up so much that all the middle ground don't really matter too much. As long as we keep our buying spree up, as long as we don't just periodically try to buy the dip, but we're just either buying weekly or on a dollar cost average basis, not just, hey, yeah, I should maybe buy some today, or no, wait, you know what, I'm not going to buy, I'm going to wait for the dip, because it always ends up being bad where you either wait too long or you buy it, it dips so much that you panic and you get out. Anyway, the cool story with regards to crypto I wanted to give y'all was that BlackRock's ETF has bled for the longest amount of time. Matter of fact, ETFs have bled now more than ever. But ultimately, I don't think this is decisive at all, or at least it shouldn't deter you from getting in or all of a sudden now be fearful. Because first of all, it's logical for ETFs to have some volatility. And second of all, I saw the senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg go into a couple of discussions with people as well. People keep saying, oh, they're not successful. This is where things start bleeding out. And he said exactly what's happening right now is, first of all, extremely normal. But also, this has been the most successful ETF basically ever. Yeah, it's not that strange that there's going to be a little bit of a flow in it. If it was only up and up and up, to me, it would kind of be more odd. Why wouldn't it happen like in a very short amount of time then, with then afterwards only down? Because if it's only up and up and up, why would you wait until all the others have bought for you to buy, right? It's a continuous motion where some people are thinking, yeah, this is going to be it forever. Some short-term speculators arise, and some people, they like to just buy in and hold for the next few years. Some people go in and change their minds, but for the most part, I don't think there's too many of those. Within these massive ETFs, I think the majority buy it following the BlackRock thesis, which is, yeah, set off or offset a lot of your other investments with this different type of risk management tool. And I think most of them also believe in the idea that this will probably do well over the next 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. They're not too concerned about where it's going to be at tomorrow, which a lot of people have or at least make a habit of worrying about, of what it's going to be like in the next few hours, days, weeks. Whereas I usually think, is this going to look good over the next couple of years? If so, let me add more, because it's the best investment and the best area that I can invest into. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed the video. It's been a really weird day today. With all this panic now all of a sudden turning into excitement. Anyway, I'm buying every single day. I don't care what anybody says. I know it's going to be good, but not financial advice.